So Ravens flock, here we are, another disaster class. And you know what? Last week I didn't rant. There may have been maybe one or two moments where I kind of screamed, but I really didn't rant like that. And I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. So I'm gonna try to make this 2 weeks in a row where I don't rant. I'm gonna go for it. So we saw the monstrosity that just happened at M&T Bank Stadium. Well, we saw it online because the people that were at the game, they didn't even bother watching it. They went home. And you know what? Shout out to them. Shout out to them. At some point, you got to try to send a message that you're not accepting this. This is unacceptable, what they're witnessing right now. And like I said last week, Ravens fans, they've lost faith. Even the most optimistic Ravens fans, even the most optimistic Ravens fans and Ravens content creators, they've even gotten to a point where everybody has pretty much lost faith, unfortunately. Now, I was hoping we could pull out a win here because despite the final score, on paper, this should have been a very winnable game, regardless of injuries. But every flaw that we have talked about came out again in this moment. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, without Lamar, this team, prior to this game, they were 3-9, and after this, they are 3-10. Where do we even begin? Because everything was a disaster, as you imagine. I'm gonna start with offense, the Texans' offense, because this Texans' offense, prior to this game, they were only averaging 16 points a game. And we just gave up 44 points. They were averaging 16 a game, and we just gave them 44 points. This is absolutely incredible. And this is sad because we're definitely going 1-5 before the bye week, because I wanted us to try to pull out a win here, because I said, man, if we could just split one of these two games, 2-4 going into the bye week, then Lamar comes back, we could kind of patch our way through. But now we're gonna be 1-5 because we're gonna get smoked by the Rams. We're gonna go 1-5, and we're gonna just have to hope that Lamar can bail us out like he always does. But this game was another example of why this coaching staff was so overrated. You have a team that without Lamar, they legitimately can't function. It's been this way the entire time. This team, and we all know the stats at this point, when Lamar plays, we win 75% of our games, and we average 30 points a game. When Lamar does not play, they average less than 15 points a game. And we only have won 3 out of 13 of those games. But y'all still gonna tell me this coaching staff is worth defending? Are you still gonna do it? See, because some of y'all still gonna do it. Again, I know Ravens fans too well, so I know some of y'all are still gonna say, hey, you know what? There's a bunch of injuries. That's not fair. It's not Harbaugh's fault. You know, that's people's favorite thing to say. It's not Harbaugh's fault. It ain't his fault. I mean, yeah, the offense sucked. Yeah, the defense sucked. Yeah, our special teams is a non-factor, but it ain't Harbaugh's fault. The players got to execute. Well, last time I checked, a big part of execution was on the head coach. You should have these guys prepared. But like always, we're not prepared. But we didn't have Lamar to bail us out, so it looked really bad. CJ Stroud has been playing like ass for like 2 years now. Outside of CJ Stroud's rookie year, he's been pretty underwhelming as a quarterback ever since. It's not all his fault. The Texans, you know, they're kind of a mess too, to be honest with you. But clearly they're not as bad a mess as we are. But Still, nonetheless, CJ Stroud's been pretty underwhelming the last 2 seasons. And still, he went out there against us and he had his best game of his career, essentially. Put up 4 touchdowns. And notice how when the other team got up by double digits, they didn't take their foot off the gas. They just kept piling on. This is 2 weeks in a row. This is 2 weeks in a row, by the way, where we went up against a team that they got up double digits against us, and instead of them calling off the dogs like John Harbaugh would, they instead kept their foot on the gas and they humiliated us, which is something John Harbaugh never does because he has an outdated coaching mentality. And this is why we always end up blowing double-digit leads, because we have a defense that is overrated and can't stop anybody when it matters. There's no closers on this defense. And so when the offense puts up 30 plus a game and we still blow the lead, we still blow the game, the obvious reason why is because we let our foot off the gas. You see the Chiefs, we play the Chiefs. Instead of them letting their foot off the gas, they kept the starters in the game and they just started running up the score. Same thing with the Texans. And the Texans and their fans, they wanted revenge, by the way, because remember, in the past couple years, we've owned the Texans low key. Now, we're not rivals necessarily with the Texans, but we've gotten the better of them pretty much every time for the past several years. Like we've had a lot of success with them, with Lamar in their lineup. We've, in the past 2 times we played them alone, we outscored them 65-12. So uh, they were waiting for this moment to really just kill us while they had the chance. Because again, these other teams, they smell the blood in the water. This is the other problem with Kyle Hamilton making the comments that he made. Now, I know Kyle apologized. It's all good. I'm not, mad at Kyle at this point. He apologized. It is what it is. But one of the other problems I had with his statement, obviously, was the fact that it's going to make us look weak to other teams, because now it's going to show these other teams that you're not hungry. You don't really want it that badly. You think you've already accomplished something even though you have no rings, which now is going to make them smell blood in the water. And now they're going to look and say, okay, well, these guys are weak. And that's exactly how these teams are playing us. They're playing us like we're now the team that they could actually use as like the get right game. And that's what the Texans did here. We let Nick Chubb looks like a shell of his former self. But when Nick Chubb plays us, he looks like his old self again. Like that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I mean, offensively, what is there to say? The O-line's still terrible. Derrick Henry couldn't get anything going because the O-line's still terrible. And also, Lamar's not there. So since the threat of Lamar's not there, Derrick really can't get the opportunities he needs, because it's undeniable that when running backs play with Lamar, they always see a boost in their yards per carry because defenses are so concerned with Lamar running, and that gives them that causes them to hesitate. And that half a second of hesitation means a lot to any running back, especially Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry's an amazing running back. But Derrick Henry's not at a point in his career where he could really carry like he used to. And you see it in this game. We needed him to. I was hoping he would really go off, but it didn't play out like that. It's not all his fault. Play calling was still bad. Todd Monken is showing that he's overrated. I was definitely wrong about that. I thought Todd Monken, when he first came here, I was like, oh, this is like a breath of fresh air. But nah, he's better than Greg Roman, but he's not that much better, honestly. This offense is still trash. This is still an offense that doesn't actually have a system. It's really, the system is simply just, hey, Lamar, bail us out. That's really the whole system. It's not much to really say. Mark Andrews caused an interception. Bateman caused another interception. There was a pass that Cooper Rush was targeting Derrick Henry, but it wasn't a good pass. And then the cornerback for Houston, he just made a good play on the ball. So Cooper Rush had 3 picks. not much to make of this. You look at the crowd. The crowd was empty. The crowd was half empty by like the end of the third quarter. Like that's how little faith the fans have at this point with this roster. And again, I'm seeing people finally get on board with the idea of firing Harbaugh, and I still don't think he's gonna get fired. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying I don't want him to get fired. I want him to get fired. I've been saying that we need to fire him for years now. But unfortunately, I just think Steve Bisciotti's a coward, and I think Eric DeCosta is both incompetent and a coward. And so I really don't see them doing it. And I guess it's possible, but at this point, even if we fire Harbaugh, are Ravens fans really going to learn their lesson? I don't think they will. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because the real lessons that Ravens fans should have learned is that, hey, let's really make a shift in our mindset. Because to me, the elephant in the room here, I don't mean to go off on a tangent here. Just stay with me. Like, to me, the real elephant in the room is that the reason so many Ravens fans were defending Harbaugh for all these years, calling people like me crazy and saying, oh, you don't know ball, you don't know ball. The big reason why a lot of those Ravens fans were defending him is because in reality, a lot of Ravens fans, y'all see yourself, when you see John Harbaugh, you see yourself in John Harbaugh. And just like John Harbaugh, a lot of Ravens fans, they're stubborn, they're closed-minded, they're stuck in their ways, and they're arrogant. They think they're smarter than everybody else. Y'all are just like our head coach. It is what it is. And it is what it is, man. And that's why y'all spend so many years thinking that people like me who were saying we need to move on from Harbaugh, y'all are acting like we just were just complete idiots, when in reality, we were right. It's sad that we were right, but in the end, no, we were correct. Harbaugh is overrated, and he always was overrated. You had a golden, and also, where is this super team, by the way? Where's this super team? I might have to make this an entirely separate video, but it's laughable that just a few months ago, people were trying to argue that this Ravens team was a super team, and that's why Lamar shouldn't get an MVP. Listen, no, you want to know what a super team looks like? Look at Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts puts up like 100 yards a game and gets like one tush push touchdown, and miraculously they still dominate. Why? Because it's just a well-balanced team. It's well-balanced enough to where Jalen Hurts really doesn't have to do a whole lot every week. He has some weeks where he does really well, but for the most part, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Same thing with San Francisco. The San Francisco 49ers just showed us on Thursday that even with injuries, if you actually have a good coach, you could go far. You could still get things done. The 49ers are like 3-1 right now, I think. They're either 3-1 or 4-1. And most of their roster is gone. Like, Brock Purdy's been hurt most of the year. All of their starting receivers are hurt. George Kittle is hurt. Nick Bosa is hurt. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't Trent Williams still hurt? Pretty much all of their key players are hurt. And they still went on the road and beat the Rams. A team that we're about to get smoked by in a couple of days. It's about to get ugly. But that's what the 49ers did. But ironically, Kyle Shanahan does not have the Teflon or the pristine reputation of John Harbaugh, because for you guys that don't remember, Kyle Shanahan, he was the OC for the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken, that year that they blew the 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. But did y'all forget that even though, yeah, we did technically win the Super Bowl in 2012, we almost blew a massive lead just like they did? But y'all want to hype up Harbaugh like he was some untouchable coach who didn't deserve to be fired. You know, I mean, it's okay. It's whatever, man. You know, it's a shame that Ravens fans had to see, and I have to keep bringing this up because I can't let Ravens fans forget about this because a lot of y'all like to rewrite history. The fact of the matter is, for all these years, 90% of you were out here fighting tooth and nail to defend John Harbaugh, and y'all was going crazy in the comment section against anybody who had the slightest critique of Harbaugh. And now here we are, and you're finally on board. But the problem is, it's too late. It's too late. We already squandered 8 years of Lamar Jackson. Do you know how insane that is? The best quarterback in our franchise's history, we've already wasted 8 years of his prime. You see how fast that happened? This is why 4 years ago, when I started this channel, 4 or 5 years ago, when I started this channel and I was saying, hey, we need to move on to some new coaches. One of the main things I was saying, I was like, bro, we can't waste Lamar's rookie contract. We're very close to wasting his rookie contract. We got to hurry up, fix things, make some big changes so we can really maximize what Lamar can be. But y'all didn't want to do that. And so not only did we waste Lamar's rookie deal, but guess what? His second contract's almost up. He only has like 2 years left. So now you've already wasted 8 years. 8 years out the window. 8 years. It took y'all 8 years to finally accept the fact that Harbaugh is I'm not going to rant. I'm not going to rant. It took y'all 8 years to finally get it. And guess what, man? Even if they do decide to finally move on from Harbaugh this season, like next week or, the end of the year, whatever. The funny thing about it is, I still think a lot of Ravens fans haven't learned their lesson because ultimately, I see a lot of y'all making suggestions on who we should get as the next coach. And I'm still shocked at some of the suggestions. I'm shocked. Y'all are suggesting Rex Ryan and Bill Belichick. Look, no offense to them, but fuck Rex Ryan, fuck Bill Belichick, fuck every old coach. Y'all gotta let go of all of these old coaches. I don't know why you guys are so enamored with these old farts who were born back during the segregation era, bro. We need to hire somebody young. Again, I'm not saying Harbaugh's gonna get fired because even though I want him to, EDC and the Bashadi are cowards. But if we're gonna start talking about replacements at coaches, we need to focus on young guys in their 30s, guys in their 40s, guys in this age range. I don't mean super young. I'm not talking about like a 20-year-old, obviously, but like guys in their 30s and 40s who are at the college at the college level, who are showing potential, or who are in the NFL but they haven't gotten an opportunity yet. Like, go find one of these guys. Stop suggesting that we go find dudes who are like 60 and 70. Like, come on, man. Like, Belichick's already checked out, man. Like, he's chilling. He's in North Carolina. He's chilling. He got his sugar baby. He's just trying to ride off into the sunset coaching these college kids. Let him be happy. We don't need to worry about getting Bill Belichick. No, bro. No. And I like Bill Belichick, but nah, man. Nah, man. Just leave him where he's at. Let's go find somebody young. But, I don't even, man. Just fascinating. Fascinating, man. I don't even think I talked about the game yet. I'm pretty sure I did. I just started riffing. Next thing I know, 20 minutes went by. Either way, man, this game was utter nonsense. I don't even know what I just watched. But that's okay. You know why that's okay? It's okay because sometimes many Ravens fans are hard-headed, Sometimes you gotta see, sometimes some people you just gotta hit upside the head, bro. It's sad that there's so many people that when you try to tell them something or warn them about something, they can't get it. They don't want to open their mind to it. What they need to have happen to them is they need to get hit upside the head. So now when you watch us get smoked 44-10, maybe, just maybe, you'll understand why keeping Harbaugh this long wasn't a good idea.